Hey, what's up, guys? We are on the fourth episode of the Mind Muscle Connection podcast. Today, we're talking to Ruben about entrepreneurship and his role as an educator. And we're going to hear from him today, talk about how he can help you kind of take your game to the next level. If you're an online coach, if you want to be an online coach, he's your man.
Awesome. How are you doing, Dino?
Good. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. What's been keeping you busy?
Everything. The gym, the kids, all the
Nice.
fun stuff. How about you? What's new with you?
New? I don't know. Just living life, working hard, loving it. So
Perfect.
it's normal for me.
Awesome. What I'd like you to do, if you can, is kind of introduce yourself and maybe give us an idea of your background, maybe your history, what got you started, and kind of the things that you're most passionate about. Because I went to your bio, I can read, all the stuff about you, but kind of tell us behind the scenes what makes you tick, what got you into your current kind of, field of practice, and just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, totally. So, if people don't know my name already, I'm Ruben Drieger. So I am from the same province that Dino's at, so Manitoba. So I basically grew up like in a normal family. I actually grew up in the Steinbach area, if anyone knows where that is. Just a small town. And so basically, I always was like a dreamer, always wanted to do something big, and just kind of did the average normal stuff that kids do. Grew up, did school, did sports, was really good at sports. But I always was like the person who's like dreaming for something big or something. And I was like, I want to do something amazing at the end of the day. And I was always kind of even told, even by my parents, like, the small things are even good to do. And I was always like, well, yeah, I get that, but I want to do something big.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, out of high school, like I did kind of like the normal jobs from where I'm at. Like I did trades, I did construction, I did bricklaying. I actually did a bit of high-rise window cleaning here in the city, saw off the skyscrapers, stuff like that. And all the time doing these different jobs, I was just bored out of my mind. I had no motivation, and I was craving impact. I was craving actually changing someone's life, not just cleaning a window that 30 seconds later was dirty again.
Right.
And so this led me, and actually, during this time, I did like a couple things like college. I got married to an amazing wife. And so we've been moving around a little bit, but then my wife, she was a weight loss coach at a clinic here in the city. And then she decided to do her own thing and become an entrepreneur for herself through social media. And at the time, I was working construction, okay? So my mindset was just like, you have to put in the hours, the manual work to make the money. And she's like, oh, no, I'm going to go work from home. So she was working like 30 hours a week at home, making more than I was working construction. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, I'm sitting here, I hate my job, I'm not making impact, and she's changing girls' lives through Instagram. And at the time, I wasn't even on Instagram. I had no idea what it was all about. I was even part of this group that was like, stay off of Facebook friends forever or something. It was terrible. But anyway, so I kind of started trying to do some entrepreneurial things because I'm like, this sounds like fun. So I failed hardcore for like 2.5 years at different things. I tried like 3 or 4 different businesses, completely failed, like made maybe a couple $100, spent a lot more to make those $100. So it really was, but then that's when I decided like I wanted to become an online health coach. And that was like something I wanted to stick to. I made a firm decision, because my wife was really good at it already. I'm like, I could probably do this, help me with a different kind of clientele. And so, I hired a mentor, someone to help me like build my social media, etc. And then we went full-time as an online health coach, myself, and she was doing her own thing. And so we were going full-time. It was a lot of fun. It was impacting people's lives. I was finally getting like that craving like fulfilled of me actually like changing people's lives. Like I mainly worked with people who had tried like 1,000,001 diets, and I just wanted to find something that was sustainable. They could lose the weight. They could enjoy living life. They didn't have to spend hours in the kitchen or hours in the gym. And so I just helped people do that, and they were extremely thankful. And so when we went full-time, I guess the last part of the story is that this is where I had some local people, actually local friends, PTs, health coaches, say like, I want to build a clientele through social media. And I was like, let me try this out. So I charged like a super low price, like I think it was like $100 or something to help them get started. And they started making money through social media. They started getting clients. I'm like, oh, what the heck, this works. And so I started doing like organic, small marketing of it, and then it grew into something full-time, and I transitioned fully into business mentorship coaching. And my wife is still doing like the online health coaching. She's awesome at that. And so, I mean, that's kind of the short story of where we are today.
Yeah, awesome. So that's great. Yeah, definitely along the lines of with most people that I talk, they get into fitness. It's kind of like they feel like they're not making an impact. They're not happy with their job. And that's kind of like a theme in a lot of people is they're just not happy doing what they're doing. And I think people like you are able to motivate people that aren't happy into finding something that will make them happy, right? Like that's kind of your goal is to take people that maybe are struggling. Maybe they're working at like a corporate gym and they're seeing 15 clients a day. It's like, well, maybe you could make that same impact if you went online or did something like that, right? So that's your goal, right? It's
exactly, yeah. And I mean, a lot of personal trainers and even health coaches, like they absolutely love working with people in person. Like they have such big hearts, but it often leads them to burnout or to a place where they're actually not enjoying their work. They like the impact they're creating, but they dread going to the gym 5 a.m. in the morning. And they're also not making like an income that is that sustainable, and they're not able to, like a lot of people like these days, they want to travel, they want to go see different things. And so my thing is like, how can you not only maintain, but also increase the impact that you're creating in person online, like make more impact, but also be able to do the things that fill you up as a person? Because a lot of coaches, they slowly empty out their cup trying to give so much. And then eventually they burn out and they stop and they do a different job where they're not helping people. So I try to reverse that, where it's like, no, let's actually fill up your cup more, actually allow you to give more, and have the life that you want. And so, I mean, that's like, a lot of people think like they can't do it. Right. But like my kind of like tagline is like, I'm 24 years old. I grew up in a town from 800 people. And if this kind of young dude can do it, then these other people can totally do it as well.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah. So I guess the flip side of that is if you're not meeting people in person now, and I've done both, I've been a personal trainer for 15 years here. So how do you stay motivated? Like when I see someone and I'm with them in person, it's like, I'm fired up, I can get you going. How do you stay motivated to hold yourself accountable to being maybe a leader, an example for these people online? How do you be as, I don't know, personable and like,
right.
Like when you're so disconnected from people when you're online, how do you do that?
Totally. And so that's a really big thing, because a lot of people like the person-to-person connection. And so like there will never be like, online will never be as personable, but you can do a lot of things to make it personable. So for instance, like when I would coach people, I would give them access to myself, like anytime during the day on a certain app called Voxer. Now Voxer is like a walkie-talkie app where like I send you a voice message, you send me a voice message. So it's actually like we're talking back and forth rather than just texting.
Right.
So right away, you have a bit better of a relationship that way. And so for my clients also, I would always do a weekly call. And oftentimes we do a video call because, I mean, just you engaging more senses of like the seeing them, like talking to them, seeing how they act. It just brings a bit more of a connection to it.
Yeah.
And then also the community aspect, which is a big thing, because there is some like community gyms where you like work out together with people, but a lot of people just go to the gym by themselves or just with their personal trainer. So if I'm coaching 20 clients online and we can have a community on like a Facebook group or a thread on Voxer where everyone's like encouraging one another, then it's also another way just to basically you're humanizing the interaction through social media or the different platforms as much as possible.
Right.
And a lot of these personal trainers, they still will maybe train 1 or 2 friends in person just to kind of get that crave out of the way.
Right.
But they just humanize as much as possible the online stuff.
Cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. So let's say you're training 20 clients online. How do you determine how much time to give these people if they have access to you 24 hours a day, if they're going to call you an hour and talk on a Skype or something, if you're going to make them a program, you're going to do maybe their nutrition consulting or whatever you'll do. Yeah. How do you budget how much time you give each person?
That's a really good question. And a lot of coaches, I mean, that's the first thing coming into the online world. When I'm helping someone and they've never done it, we actually have to talk about how to structure an online business to make it like profitable for you, but also giving them like all the time that they need. And so often I get people to separate their online coaching businesses into two segments. One's a one-on-one coaching service that's more high touch. They get a lot more time with you. And one of them is a group coaching service, which is less time, less touch, and a lower cost, obviously. And so for like the people that are willing to pay a higher price to get it like one-on-one, more customization, more like calls with me, then I spend like, I would say maybe even at that point, it's only like an hour and a half per week, like with one client. And so if they're willing to pay a higher price, I'll spend more time with them. If like they don't have the money, or if they don't want that and they want more of a group coaching experience where it's just the group and then they get plans, but then there's only like a group coaching call once per week where everyone's on and you're coaching them all at once. So that's how I separate it, because otherwise there is people who totally will max out on one-on-one and they'll be spending way too much time on every person.
Yeah.
And they're not getting back enough in return.
Right.
Lots of people undervalue themselves that way. And so I just get them to split it up. Usually I say focus on one-on-one first. When you fill up with that, then you can raise the price, create a group coaching program, and build that out, because group coaching, then you can go as wide as possible as long as you still have everything set up in place for them to get the results.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. So a couple of things I want to touch on about online coaching. What do you think about people that give out cookie cutter programs, right? That's really popular in Winnipeg, I find. And I've actually had personal training clients come in with me with their old programs with the wrong person's name, with the date from 2 years ago. Like, so what do you think in terms of integrity of like online coaches? Is there kind of maybe a stigma that online coaches are lazy or that they're taking advantage of people? Like, what do you think?
There totally is. And I think that the whole cookie cutter idea is I don't know if the right term is old school a little bit, but I think that was the first stuff that happened, because when they started, it was like, well, how do I send someone, like, how do I customize something? We didn't have platforms like we did today, like 5-10 years ago. And so people were sending out cookie cutter plans. But if you're going to send out cookie cutter plans, you have to be willing to get a lower price, lower quality of transformations, like just bare none. Like, and I've seen this before. When I was an online health coach, I was selling packages like for like a higher price, like 3 months for $1,000 or $1,200. And people will be like, well, I can go buy this program for like $60 from this other guy, and he has like 1 million followers. Like, he's way more credible. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to give you like literally do this in the gym. You're never going to get contact with him. You might get into a Facebook group, but he's never going to like respond to you. Yeah. And so like those programs, they'll like maybe work for like a month, but then, as you know, as a trainer, the body's going to adapt. It's going to change. You might need to change up like your programming. And then where are you at? Then you have to buy a new program. And so it's just like letting people understand, the audience understand that you need someone that's going to customize stuff for you and actually not only just give you the fish and actually teach you how to fish. Yeah. Like, okay, so when you think about nutrition, this is how you calculate how much you should be eating. This is like, if you're doing macros or whatever it is in the gym, like try to do this, like progress with your volume, whatever it is, like actually teach people how to do it. Yes. And you can charge a much higher price. You get better transformations and your clients love you for it. Yeah. And so I just tell people, like, move away from cookie cutters, especially because you're not going to be able to go full-time really fast unless you have like 100,000 followers plus.
Exactly.
It's such a low cost.
Exactly. So taking that point forward, how important do you think the programs are versus the fact that you're just there for someone, the support, the accountability? Like, what are people actually paying for? Because you can Google anything. You can go, give me a 3-day program and find it online. And I truly believe that people aren't buying programs when they buy an online coach. They're buying something else. So what are they buying?
Well, totally. And I'd probably break it up as when someone buys from you, they're only buying 20% strategy and 80% they're buying you as a coach, the experience that you have, and the accountants accountability and support. And actually, I give a bit of an example here to a lot of the coaches that I train. There's an old artist. His name was Pascal, and one day he was at a restaurant and he was like drawing on a napkin, like just a little sketch on a napkin. And the waitress was like, "Oh, can I have this napkin when you leave?" Like, because she wanted like a drawing from this famous artist. And he said, "Yeah, it'll just be $20,000." And she's like, "But like it took you like 2 minutes to draw." And he said, "No, it took me 20 years to draw because it took him 20 years to get to this point of where his experience and his like ability to do the art. And so in the same way, you're not really paying someone for the programming as much. Like, obviously, yeah, that's why I say 20%, but you can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, you can go to Instagram, you can get so much free stuff that, like, even the stuff I teach people, you can get for free online. But it's not the information you're paying for, it's the help with the implementation. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
And so, don't go price shopping for programs. Find someone that can motivate you and you look up to and you think could support you.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, most people know that I've been in the game for a long time. And one of the things I've learned is that education doesn't necessarily make a good coach. Experience doesn't necessarily make a good coach. Personality doesn't make a good coach. A fit physique doesn't make a good coach. What do you think makes trustworthy and maybe worthwhile online coach?
Right, totally. So, I mean, some of those things are important when, like, if I was to look for a coach, I would want to look for someone that does have a good physique or is at the place in their life that I would like my physique to get to. But what I would say as far as a coach is look for someone who can ask you the hard questions, can give you some tough love, and is actually able to influence you towards the right stuff. Because there's too many coaches, and I train a lot of coaches actually, that they're people pleasers. When they come to the industry, they're a little bit like they're people pleasing. They're always lowering their prices. They're always passive. I would look for someone who would challenge me and influence me to become the best version of myself, and would not like when they would look at me, they'd be like, "These are your excuses that you're holding on to. You need to get rid of it."
Yeah.
And so that's what I would look for in a coach. Just someone that actually would be able to transform me, not just give me some information or has a good physique.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So we kind of know your goals, your service. What are some of maybe the biggest lessons you've learned getting to this stage, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of lessons. The first one would be that failure is the way to move forward. That meaning, like, my first, I would say 3 years of trying entrepreneurship or trying to help people failed so bad. And I mean, kind of a lesson to go along with that is that the person who consistently puts forth value is going to win at the end of the day. Because there's a lot of people that I started my entrepreneurship journeys with, like other friends or people online that were starting stuff, and now they're not doing it and they didn't get anywhere. And I don't think I was more special than them. Like, I wasn't great at school. It's not like I had a massive following. It wasn't anything special. It was just the consistent hard work. And the second thing is, like, just like a lot of people give up on their health a couple months into working on it. Maybe it's like, oh, I've only lost like 20 pounds. I was hoping to lose 40, and they give up. It's the same way in business. Like, some people, it's like, oh, I just have a couple clients. I didn't hit my goal. I should just quit. And most people are just a couple steps away from actually succeeding or like getting their health on track. So a lot of people stop too soon. But besides that, it's just, if you can love on people, and especially on social media, just be a human. Just be someone that connects with other people as a human would in person. Like, that's the biggest thing I just see again and again. People just either spamming or people just saying things that they wouldn't say in person, and that's not going to move you forward. Just be a real, raw human, providing tons of value, working hard, and being consistent. That's, I mean, it's so basic. It's kind of cheesy to say it, but it's the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So saying that, what do you think would be the most rewarding part of the journey so far? Do you have any stories, anything like that?
Yeah, totally. The stories are the most rewarding. I mean, I have like a thread on Voxer again, where all my clients are in, and popping in there every single day and seeing like what they're creating in their life. Just this last week, there's a couple times where I literally was like breaking down a little bit into tears from just the comments. I'll share one story. A girl who 7 weeks ago, she had 0 clients. She was trying to work at a gym, and her gym was just terrible. Like the boss there was like terrible. And so she quit her job, her car broke down, and she was just like, I have to make this work, this online coaching work. And in the last month, she's made like over $5,000 online. And like when she sent me a message, like a voice message, just thanking me, like this is unreal. I've never made this much money in a month. I've never been able to help people like this. Like I was just sitting there like, what the heck am I doing? Like it was just crazy. So like the reward doesn't always come right off the front, and that's kind of what I was saying before. But like it's the same idea when we have farmers all around us where we live, but like when you plant the crop in the springtime, you're not going to get rewarded right away. So you have to do a lot of work until in the fall you get the harvest. Yeah. And so, but that is so rewarding. Like that just makes me want to just like help so many more people. Like it just gives me a fire for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I think one of the things you have to learn as a coach that I've learned over the years is that to be successful, you kind of got to be comfortable with other people being this, like having successes, right? So it's like the people that you coach might end up doing better than you wished you could have done, right? Like, but you can't get jealous, you can't get spiteful.
No, exactly.
You have to embrace that and realize that they're succeeding because of you. Like that's the value of doing what you do as a coach, right?
I think a lot of people have this whole like competitive mindset when it comes to business or health or fitness, where it's like we're always competing against one another. When in actuality, I think the world in general we should think of more things as win-wins. We should think more as, if I can help more people win at life, I'm going to do amazing. And I've just seen that work again and again. The more I point to other people, and when I see them win, that means I'm winning. And so that whole competition mindset or like comparison mindset is so detrimental, because it stalls your progress and actually stalls you helping other people progress. So no, you're totally right on that.
Yeah. Awesome. So like you mentioned, you're only 24 years old, right? So I'm 34 years old.
Nice.
What's the long goal? Like where do you want to see yourself maybe when you're my age or even older? Like what is your goals? Like what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, totally. Well, I have a lot of goals. So, as far as like business goes, I have a lot of things I want to be launching and scaling up. And so this year there's going to be a lot of scaling up my one-on-one coaching, my group coaching. We're going to be creating some courses online. Definitely going to be starting a podcast, trying to catch up with you. And so just building those up this year. And then in the future, I want to always be running these programs, but I have a really big desire to help the average person who doesn't like their job create extra money online or through a different form. I have a big passion for helping like just people, like couples, like a couple walking down the street that they both hate their job, like not necessarily be an online coach. I just want to help them in general make income online, doing something they're passionate about. And so I'd love to, and this is something my wife and I might actually create together, is just something that helps like other couples start side hustles, create a life that they love, and impact other people. So other than that, I think it's just building the brand, helping as many people as we can in different areas. Man, I don't even know where it's going to all go after that, but that's the first part. Maybe obviously like speaking, maybe writing, different gigs, stuff like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you think that goals are important? Or do you think that like maybe dreaming, like having dreams, like things that you really wish, because I've always kind of been of the mindset that you need to have concrete goals, but maybe you might disagree and think that you also have to be somewhat of maybe a dreamer and kind of think that there's other possibilities,
Right, totally. It's good. Like, I think it's always, because this is how I take it. Some people are like, you shouldn't have goals because life can change and so many things can happen. But I always say, like, have goals, but be an expert at pivoting, which means that right now I have a goal to launch 3 things this year. I know the months I want to launch them in. I know what I need to do to make that happen. But if all of a sudden something else comes along that's going to be better, it's going to help more people or whatever it is, I'm going to pivot. So I have a goal and I'm working towards it. But if something changes, I can pivot. And as long as the long-term vision, which is creating a ton of amazing impact and living the life that I want, happens, that's what I want. So I have like my ultimate vision, and the goals to get there, and if I need to pivot, I'll pivot. Awesome.
So we know what your goals are in terms of business, but what do you think it takes to make someone happy just in general? I think especially with the way that social media has come around in the last 10 years, I think a lot of people are really confused in terms of how to be happy in the first place. So maybe in your coaching you do this, but how would you explain happiness to someone else?
Yeah. So I often I link happiness with contentment or satisfaction a lot. And a lot of people, especially through social media, I tell people, and this is something I've been working on a lot, is like actually getting off of social media more than you're getting onto it. And I'm trying to have a rule for myself. It's super hard. I'm not saying I'm good at this yet. You only go into social media to provide value, and then you get off.
Right.
So that way you're giving on social media. And when I teach my clients about like happiness, there's a couple things, which is I think creating an impact in the world is going to help.
Yeah.
But if you create an impact and you're like burnt out, that's not going to create happiness. So creating an impact is one. Creating a work-life balance, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be like the perfect balance. Whatever fits you best. If you can, let's say if you only need 3 hours off a day, but that would make you happy, then do that. So first thing is impact. The second thing is finding balance in your life. And then the third thing is just progress in the other areas of your life. So whether it's with like relationships, whether it's with just your self-identity, or whether it's with your own health or whatever it is, the human brain loves progress. As long as you can see like in a month, let's say I moved up the volume of the weight that I'm pushing in the gym, or I can see in a month that I got a little bit better at knowing my wife, or whatever it is. If I can see progress in these different areas, create an impact and have balance, that's what makes me happy personally. Yeah. And I think that's going to make other people happy as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. So what do you think about consuming social media as an entrepreneur? Like, should you be so concerned with what your clients are doing online? Should you be following every person that follows you? Like, can you get burnt out just by trying to give as much attention as you're expecting to get from your consumers?
Yeah, so that totally can happen. Now, I'm gonna have a bit of I'm gonna probably back myself into a corner here. You need to get to a place where you're not like consuming so much content and like comparing yourself to other people. Like there's different situations. For me, I like going to look at my clients' content because I coach them in how their content should look. So in a sense, I want to be out there. But a lot of people, like the whole like following people back, liking or commenting, at the end of the day, even though it's awesome to do that, that's something that, and this might not be a popular opinion, but once you get to a place where you can outsource that, I would get people to outsource that. Just because you want to love on so many people. Now, I would never outsource something like my direct messages, like responding to people, because I feel like that's more personal touch. But if I had someone that would go like and comment on potential client stuff for me, I would feel fine with that.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple caveats there. Definitely it works well to like and comment on potential client stuff because it builds a relationship. But as soon as you could outsource that, I would do that.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe I'll take some of your expertise for the listeners here. What do you think, bang for buck, if you're an online coach, if you're a personal trainer, if you're in the fitness industry, what do you think you should be investing your time into in terms of maybe platforms or ways of getting your content out? Like, what is best bang for buck, do you think?
Right, totally. I'll talk about those two things. So finding ideal clients and content creation. So for the first part, as far as platforms go and where to find them, it depends who your ideal client is. If you're looking so I know a lot of my coaches I work with, they'll look for clients that are in their 20s. Now, if you're looking for clients that are in your 20s, Instagram is going to be your best bang for buck. And basically, how to find clients is you got to get inside the head of your client. What's the activity they're performing on social media? Well, if it's a guy like me, then he's going to be going to look at these certain accounts of guys who are really building their physiques and stuff like that. So I should go to those accounts. I should look who's commenting, who's liking it, and interact with these guys. Maybe give them a follow. And so, but if my clientele is a bit older, let's say 35 to 40 to 45 to 50, Facebook all the way. Don't spend hardly any time on Instagram. Yeah, you know what? Still post on there and stuff like that. Build your following. But don't spend time looking for your clients on there. Go to Facebook. Go into groups. You can literally search for strong and over 40 Facebook group. And there'll be a group where there's only people that are over 40 trying to get strong and fit. blah, 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 like your ideal clients are right there.
Yeah.
Right. And so it depends a little bit. Now, again, if your clientele is mainly professionals in the corporate world, go to LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn so much, but literally it's such an untapped market. But go there if they're there, right? So, and if your clients are 20 and younger, you better be on Snapchat. You better get on Snapchat. So anyways, that's where ideal clients would be. Now for content creation, I mean, you got to produce a lot of content. People, like, if you want to be like building an audience, getting clients, like at least 3 to 6 times a week producing content. I do 6 times a week. I'm consistent Monday through Saturday content creation. But I batch my content. What that means is that like one day out of the week, I'll create 6 posts and then I'll automate them to be posted Monday through Saturday the next week. So I'm not spending time every single day thinking about it. I'm being efficient about it and streamlining it. So those would be the 2 tips out on those points.
Awesome. Do you think anyone sees through that as being inauthentic or anything like that? Like, are we at the stage yet where people know that they're kind of being fished, you know?
Like on social media? Yeah, totally. So if you do it the wrong way, you can totally get that sense. Like, for instance, when you like follow someone on Instagram and you get an automated DM and it says something like, hey, thanks for following my page and da-da-da-da-da, join my free Facebook group if you want to think about my coaching, da-da-da. Yeah, like stop that right now. Like, oh, just stop that. What I talk about a lot is because in business, we talk about lead generation, which is generating leads for your business. But an important topic that a lot of people don't talk about is lead care, which is caring for your leads. And so I actually made a post this morning and talking about a bit of a system that I often use, which is when someone follows you, that's their first point of contact with you. Then let them interact with your content. Then see if they're going to watch your Instagram stories. You can see who watched your stories. You can be like, okay, this person followed me. They like my stuff. They're following my stories. Now they're connecting with me, okay? So this is where maybe I would just reach out, super friendly message, say like, hey, hope it's okay if I say hi. Like, it's so good connecting with you. Hope you have a great day. Like something that's totally organic. You put their name in there so they know it's not like an automated robot. Things like that. And so you can send them a message. And then if they keep on liking, commenting on your stuff, then like for me, I have a free Facebook group that gives tons of value. I'm like, hey, I'm doing a training tomorrow. I'm interviewing my clients who made this much money this last week. I'd love to have you in my free Facebook group to get you in that training. Then they get into my Facebook group. And then they get my freebie, so they get on my email list. So I'm just generating like more points of contact, giving them more value. And then after that, when I say, hey, you know what? Like, I think would be a really good fit. Like, let's hop on a quick call. Let's brainstorm a little bit and see if we can get you like towards those goals that you have for your business. Then they're just like, basically it's the gift to ask ratio. I gave so much value for free that when I do an ask, it has power in it.
Right.
And so don't just straight up message people and just say, hey, I saw you're in this Facebook group and my ideal client is someone who's over 40 and we should connect and I should be your coach. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's going to work 1 out of a billion people these days. And so just be like, again, be human. Yeah. Just like provide a lot of value. Don't be spammy. Don't be pushy. I always say that when you're really needy for people, you're really creepy. And so just don't be creepy. Yeah. And so if you do it that way, then, you know, people don't care that they're being sold because actually people love buying stuff. Like we have malls, we have online shopping for a reason because people love buying stuff, but they hate being pushed, like stuff being pushed on them. Yeah. So just don't do it that way and you're fine.
Exactly. Awesome. Cool. All right. So maybe outside of fitness, what are some of the things that Ruben likes to focus his time on, put his energy into?
Yeah, totally. So I absolutely, like I love music. I love playing music. I used to be semi-professional artist. And so I love playing music. I do that just a little bit at home. I love hanging out with people. Like people just get me energized. Like hanging out with friends, going to do fun things, whatever it is. Like I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. I like a good read, whether it's like business strategy or like completely fantasy. I love reading. And so those are some things that I like. We have 2 Siberian Huskies, so I love taking them to the dog park, taking them for walks. That's always a blast. Yeah, and I love traveling. We actually, the last couple of years, we traveled like a ton. This last year, we haven't traveled like hardly at all, but I love traveling as well. So those are kind of a couple things.
Awesome. Yeah, the reason I asked that, I guess, ties into this idea of being able to burn out as a fitness entrepreneur,
Yeah.
because most of us get into fitness because we like sports, we like being active, we like working out, we like, riding our bikes outside. We do all these things that are part of what we're trying to teach other people to do, that if we're doing it for 8 hours a day, if our only outlet is, again, something related to work, it's just
Exactly.
going to burn us out, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to have interests that are outside of fitness. Same thing for me. Like, I love podcasts. I listen to things that are completely unrelated
Right.
to fitness and stuff like that. So do you include like lifestyle strategies for your the coaches that you mentor? Like,
Yeah, so I often talk about the whole idea of playing during your day, which is like a lot of people, like the average human being cannot focus on one task past 2 hours like very efficiently at all. So I get people to break up their days. And so for me, usually my morning routine takes a while of working out, reading, getting ready, playing with the dogs, whatever. So usually I get into work at like only 10 o'clock, but then I work from 10 to 12. I take a lunch break. Me and my wife will go make like an awesome vegan bowl or something else, like something great. And then I'll go back to work. And then mid-afternoon, usually we're pretty close to, like, we're downtown. So I go down to the river. Maybe I'll walk a little bit there. I might even do a live video down there. Or I'll like play music a little bit, or I'll read a little bit, or I'll go downstairs and there's like a pool table downstairs or whatever, or meet up with someone, right? So I have sections. And actually, if you're an entrepreneur, a lot of us have times when we procrastinate during the day. I actually get people to schedule in procrastination time, because if you're going to do it, you might as well schedule it in and get it. And so, no, literally, so after every 2 hours, break it up with something, and then when you come back, say, okay, I want to get this stuff done in the next 2 hours, get it done. But if you don't play, you're totally going to burn out. I mean, I have some clients like from the UK, and I'll be texting them at like 6 o'clock my time, which is like midnight their time, and they're still working. And I'm just like, get to bed. Like sleep is so important as well. Yeah. And so, yeah, no, that's something that I push on my clients pretty hard.
Awesome. Good. Let me see here if I got any other questions for you. Yeah, I guess maybe talk about how to find you and kind of what, like what you want listeners to do. Like, how do they come find you on the internet?
Yeah, totally. So I hang out mainly on Instagram. That's kind of my biggest platform. That's where I do most of like live stories posting. So it's just Ruben.Drieger on there. And so you spell Ruben, REUBEN, Drieger is DRIEDGER. So follow me on there. If you send me a message, I'll follow everyone who follows me back and connect with you guys. I'm also on Facebook, same username, just Ruben Drieger. But let's connect on there, and I'd love to help anyone out that could use it. So yeah.
Awesome. So your courses are like rolling admission. Like, how do you do that? Do you do it every couple months? Like, what if somebody wants to sign up?
My one-on-one mentorship for people who want to go like full-time as an online coach, that's an evergreen course. So it's always rolling because I always take people, I customize it for them. So it's not really set in stone. And my group coaching is seasonal. So the next time I'm going to open my group coaching is going to be July 16th for people who want to start learning how to use social media to get sales off of that.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So any kind of final words of advice, any messages you didn't get to kind of put through that you'd like to tell people?
I mean, basically, like, my main thing is that if you can learn how to become an expert at something and create massive, like, valuable, positive impact in that area, you're going to succeed at life and you're going to get happy. And so I would just recommend to everyone to dig deep on one thing to get really good at, learn how to just create tons of positive impact with that. You'll be happier, you'll get more income, and I don't know. That's basically it. Create that impact.
Awesome. Perfect.